Welcome to Cooking with Miss O. Let's join Mary Beth Oxendine in the kitchen as she teaches you how to cook Southern style healthy.
Welcome to Cooking with Miss O. I'm Mary Beth Oxendine, and on today's show we will be cooking 3 cheese quiche, applesauce muffins, and fruit cup with oranges and grapefruit. I'm going to start today with the quiche, and I use the organic eggs, and we're going to be doing 4 eggs today. I use organic eggs because I have a child that's allergic to sulfur drugs. And if you use regular eggs, they might have antibiotics in them of sulfur, or if you're allergic to penicillin. So I use organic eggs because she would get sick if she got eggs that had been treated with sulfur. The chicken had been treated with sulfur drugs. And so that's when I first started using organic eggs. Organic eggs also are like a free range, and always wash your hands after you use eggs or raw meat. I use organic eggs are like chickens used to be done back in the 30s and 40s. They're outside and they're fed healthy things and grain and all. Now I'm going to use organic half and half. And I use 1.5 cups of this. I use half and half instead of heavy cream because it's not as fattening. And if you do, which I use a lot, I use organic non-fat milk, but if you do that, it makes it runny and watery afterwards. I do a dash of organic garlic powder and dry mustard. And then I do sea salt. You don't really taste the garlic in it at all. And then I have 3 cheeses. I use Havarti, cheddar, and Parmesan. And all you do is put this in the bottom of your greased dish. Put your cheddar in first. And you use 3/4 cup of cheddar cheese. Then you put in your Havarti, and I use 1/4 cup of that. And then I use fresh Parmesan that I've grated, and I use about 1 tablespoon of that. Sprinkle that all on top. And then all you have to do then is pour your milk and egg mixture over it. And you cook it for 40 minutes. And this pan that I'm using is very even cooking. This is a longer burger baking dish. I have found that the longer burger dishes are the best baking dishes I have ever used. I was given this as a gift, so now I use all my baking dishes are longer burger because they cook evenly and they don't burn easily. And then you take this and just put it in your preheated oven of 375 degrees. And cook it for, I would start checking it about 35 minutes. Let it get lightly browned on the top. And there you have a 3 cheese quiche. One thing I do with my quiches sometimes is I add hamburger to it and make it a dinner quiche. Sometimes I add sausage to it, make it a breakfast quiche. I usually use this 3 quiche as a lunch or a brunch or a breakfast. And sometimes at lunchtime you can add fresh spinach. You don't even have to chop it up too fine and put it in with it, and use these same 3 cheeses on all of those. Now I would like to do the applesauce muffins that we had planned today. This is my fresh ground whole wheat flour, and I do that right before I cook. This is my brown sugar. I also use honey in these, or raw sugar. You can substitute any of those. Mix those around good so that your brown sugar is chopped up good. I buy my wheat berries at a Mennonite place in Seneca, or at a vegetable stand that also carries it in easily. I used to have to order all my wheat from Montana and order enough for a year, and now I can buy the same wheat in 50-pound bags at these 2 stands that are on either 2 towns on either side of where I live. So I'm about 20 minutes from either of those stores. Also at Ingles, they sell wheat berries by the pound, so you can also get it there. Also, we are going to add now, we add cinnamon, and I use the organic cinnamon, like I've showed y'all earlier. And I use organic nutmeg. We do baking soda, baking powder, and sea salt. And we mix those together real good too. Sometimes brown sugar can be chunky, so you want to get all those chunks out of there with your whisk. Some people use spoons. I think a whisk is the easiest for me to get everything mixed up. Now, let me tell you the difference in store-bought whole wheat flour and flour you've ground yourself. It tends to be heavier if you buy the store-bought. You'll be surprised that when you grind your own wheat, how light it is. Now we're putting in 3/4 of Mott's All Natural, so it has no chemicals in it, applesauce. A lot of these things I use, you can get coupons for it, and so that makes it free or half-priced. Publix in our area is probably the best. I have to drive to Easley for that. They have the best with coupon savings of anybody. Now, we want to whisk in the apples. And we need to do an egg here. And we're going to do a little bit of water in this. You do about 3/4 cup water. You can use milk if you want to, but you don't need that much liquid for these. And your whole wheat, when it seems a little bit liquidy, it will grow in here, like as if it had yeast in it. It will start bubbling up because it's a live food. What I'd like for you to learn through my cooking is that you want to eat live foods. And so we're going to start putting this in the muffin tins and popping this in the oven. And when our quiche is done, we'll have applesauce cinnamon muffins too. I usually do 2 scoops in a muffin. I use these paper liners. I buy these, I think Walmart and Ingles has those. I don't get any colored ones because of the dyes, and that's not really good for your kids to have. Then And I use stainless steel with all my baking dishes too because it's healthier. And it cooks even. It cooks much than the lighter weight aluminum. We'll put this first batch in. Let's put a little bit more on this one. These are real light. I use these for breakfasts and lunches, but I also make these up for snacks. Let's put this in here with the quiche. It cooks at the same temperature, 375, and those only cook for 20 minutes. We're going to go to a break right now, and I will see you when we come back. Thank you. Welcome back, y'all. I am going to do a fruit salad here, and I do this a little bit different. I try to cut as much sugar out of our diet as possible, and I don't use dietetic sugars. So I have cut these oranges, and let me see, that one's not cut very well. And I've used a fruit knife here to do it. And I put in all the oranges and then juice them, and then we use our grapefruit. Now, grapefruit is pretty bitter, but it's so healthy. And what I do is I use enough oranges so that it sweetens my grapefruit, and then you don't have to put sugar on your grapefruit. Even my children like it that way, because nobody likes grapefruit just, well, somebody might, but it's so sour. But it's so good for you. Now, if you're going to eat grapefruit, make sure that it doesn't, if you are on any kind of heart medicine, you need to make sure that's not one that grapefruit, you're not supposed to take with grapefruit. Now, the vitamin C that you get in oranges and grapefruit they have done a study and found that people that ate oranges and grapefruit and lemon all winter had less colds and serious illnesses than a group of people they did the study with that had no fruit. And it was remarkably different. It wasn't just a little bit. Let me try my spoon here and see if I can get this out better. You can use fruit salad for an afternoon snack. You can use it for breakfast, but they're saying now that if you do fruit for breakfast, it really just is too much sugar because fruit is sugar. It does change to sugar. And this wonderful squeezer I have for my oranges is Pampered Chef. I love Pampered Chef. They have wonderful things, very practical things, and they have it at prices you can afford. So I really enjoy that because there's not a kitchen store anywhere around me. And what's wonderful about it is it keeps the seeds from going in there. And then I use this. And my kids don't like a lot of pulp, so that also helps there. Other things you can add to this fruit salad. Now, in the winter, the reason I do fresh is because it's cheaper, of course. Grapefruits and oranges are all very inexpensive during the winter months, and apples. So I use a lot of those fruits during this time. I try to always have the stuff in season, and I'll tell you why. Another reason for that is because then I don't buy fruit or vegetables that are out of the country. In the 1980s, they stopped spraying DDT in our country. It was a pesticide that they sprayed on the foods because of the dangers it was to us, especially to children. But even though it's outlawed in the United States, it's not outlawed other places. And so it's still being sold, but it's being sold to other countries. And then you might have fruit and vegetables that have been sprayed with DDT. My daughter was also allergic to DDT, so that is another reason why I don't have foods that are out of the country. I usually do 2 oranges, which is 4 halves, to 2 halves of a grapefruit, a whole grapefruit. And that way it keeps them from being bitter. The more whole foods, and when they talk about whole foods, the more foods that you eat just the way God made them, the healthier you'll be. One person I really like to listen to and study what he has learned is Jordan Rubin. He is an American, and he has really done a lot of research on food. Now with the grapefruit, if I do it like that, I get most of everything out of it. Just comes out, and the juice too. You can add the grapefruit juice to it, and it doesn't make it better because you have so much of the orange in there. Sometimes fresh cherries are real good with this. Fresh strawberries, sometimes I'll find them in the store and it's not too expensive, and maybe I've saved enough money on everything else that I can buy some winter strawberries. And strawberries is one thing you want to get organic too because it is sprayed real heavily. And if you save money on all the other things with your coupons and buying things in season, they're always cheaper if they're in season. Usually, I don't use green pepper in the winter because it is so expensive. And sometimes it's 4 times the cost it is in the summer. Strawberries are about 4 times the cost they are when they're in season. Because they have to ship them so far. Now let's stir that around and see if we have enough fruit. Let's put a couple of more grapefruits in. These grapefruits weren't real bitter at all. And I really like grapefruit as long as it's not too sour. When you have, now oranges and grapefruit are different, have different properties in them than your lemon. Your lemon, if you take a half of a fresh lemon during the, in the morning and drink about 8 ounces of room temperature water when you get up, or even just a teaspoon of fresh lemon, not lemon that's in the bottle or anything like that. That doesn't work. But if you do that, it will keep, it is like a natural antibiotic, and it balances the pH in your intestines, and that's where most disease starts. It all starts there. Colds and everything do. And that's when you get sick. And if you do it when you're feeling feverish, if you even heat up the lemon in the water, it will help with that. It'll help within about 2 days. It'll get rid of your sore throat. It's a wonderful natural antibiotic. You should always keep fresh lemons in the house. This is our fruit salad. And we could probably have used a couple of more oranges, but here it is. And it's an inexpensive dish to add to any meal and give the kids the vitamin C that they need, especially in this strong cold season and all. Thank you so much. We'll be right back. I have a wonderful friend that's here to eat brunch with me. This is Marie Pritchett, and we met right on that year anniversary after Tom died, my husband. And she came to my house to have lunch because I was the head of the prayer ministry at Rock Springs Baptist Church, and there she was coming to speak at our women's ministry. And we have grown into wonderful friendships. Marie, why don't you tell us what Grace in the Ministry is?
Grace in the Wilderness is a ministry that encourages women in all walks of life, no matter what you may be going through. We have women's conferences throughout the year. We started out with a women's conference 3 years ago, and it's grown. We've added a teen conference. We've added a conference for moms who have lost children. We've added a conference for women who have are going through cancer, for widows, and for moms of special needs children.
Thanks, Marie, and I'm so glad she could come eat with Marie. Marie and I have now developed a wonderful friendship. She is the reason is she has lost a son, Josh. While I serve our brunch, why don't you tell us about Josh?
I lost my son 6 years ago in a tragic car accident, and my dear sweet friend Sharon Hawkins had started a ministry, Grace in the Wilderness, And shortly thereafter, she came to me and asked me about being a part of that ministry. And I had truly found God's grace in my wilderness because I was struggling and I felt like I was just out, all alone. But in reality, looking back, I see how God was just truly carrying me every step of the way.
And Grace in the Wilderness has really helped me a lot too. They have been there for me. And they have now started, they're going to be having their first this year Widows Ministry. And we both will be involved in that. And the Christmas conference that we just did was in honor of her son Josh for parents that have lost children. Now, Marie, would you help me eat some of this food?
Absolutely. Mary Beth's food is awesome.
Thank you. Let's see how it tastes, Marie.
Okay.
We're going to tell you whether that grapefruit's sour or not, y'all. Let me just... Now, I do my muffins in a pan without the liners. If you don't want to, it saves more money. But I just do it because it's easier cleanup if you don't have much time. I want you to know, too, with the quiche, you can bake these, bake a couple at a time, and you can freeze them. And right before you freeze them, cut them in fourths. If you're going to use 4, and then if not, if you have 6, you want to do it a little bit smaller, you can cut them in 6.
It's wonderful, Mary Beth,
Is it
as
all right?
always.
Oh, thank you, Marie. Marie's been an encourager to me, her and her family, and Sharon Hawkins, and since my husband died, and it's given me something to do besides just cooking, right? And so I'm very blessed because it always helps when you lose somebody to have a friend who has walked through it before you, and you can see how God has helped her, and then you know that God will help you too. I just want to tell you, we've had a great time cooking with you today. I'm so glad you got to meet my wonderful friend, Marie Pritchett. I would love to hear from you. If you've tried any of these recipes, you can do my email at the end of the show. And I want to say, until next time, may God bless you and your family. Thank you. Bye.